Welcome back, my lovely audience of Planeswalkers. Your magnificent ringleader, Rix, back with another episode of Magic the Gathering Arena. I do hope that you've gone to flipsidegaming.com and utilized the promo code 6. It gives you 10% off on orders over $10. A deal to die for. Of course, this deal is made even sweeter, knowing that Flipside Gaming has Dragon Shield sleeves for only $8. Of course, today we are hopping into the upgraded spectacle of a show that we have for you. Anyway, yeah, this is upgraded spectacle. I should say, first things first, that this deck is not meant to be a Rakdos colored, like, tiered deck. If you want one of those, check out Burn, because Burn is technically is straight up better than this. But if you want a deck that really takes advantage of the spectacle cards, then this is the deck for you. Especially if you did end up utilizing the budget version of this, it's decently easy to just upgrade it. So, without further ado, let's get into it. We're playing 4 Fanatical Firebrands and 2 Spear Spears, mainly because Fanatical Firebrand, sometimes you need to deal that extra point of damage to knot your opponent's face. So, for example, Fanatical Firebrand, if you're going second and your opponent leads with a Llanowar Elf, you can kill it. That is often more important than having the guaranteed ping to your opponent's face. Giving them the ramp does actually matter. But what's nice is that Fanatical Firebrand is your creature's or your opponent's board agnostic, right? So, you know, early on you can get some pings in since it has haste, which is nice. But once your opponent does set up a defense, you can just sack it and ping, right? And that flexibility of not only being able to sack it at any point, but also being able to kill or help kill other creatures is in my opinion, very important. Spear Spewer, people have said that this card is great against, like, aggro decks, but a lot of aggro decks are running, like, larger creatures. For example, the mono white deck runs a lot of 1-mana 2/1s, so that just runs over Spear Spewer. So I don't like seeing it that way. I think that it is just a decent way of getting guaranteed damage to your opponent's face. And for what it's worth, it works really nicely with Spawn of Mayhem, because Spawn of Mayhem cares about us being at a certain life total. Footlight Fiend is at 4, because it's very similar to Fanatical Firebrand in that it's your opponent's board agnostic. So if you have your opponent on an empty board, you can attack in. If they're not on an empty board, you can go ahead and attack in. And either they take a damage from the Fiend connecting, or they take a damage from them blocking and then you targeting them with the Fiend. For what it's worth, Fiend is actually also helpful, because it allows you to kill X2. So if your opponent has some smattering of X2s on the board, you can hold back your Footlight Fiend and be able to kill that X2. Or, alternatively, if your opponent is attacking with a large, non-trampling creature, you can hold Footlight Fiend back, block with it, and then you have Spectacle on your opponent's turn to maybe use... wait, are these both sorceries? Alright, never mind, they're both sorceries. Anyway, but for what it's worth, you still get damage out of the card, even if you have to use it to chump block. Moving on to our main 2-drop slot, we have 3 Rix Maadi Revelers, and the reason for this is essentially that sometimes your hands don't work the way you want them to. This mana base has annoyed the crap out of me, but sometimes if you need more lands, you can go and discard, you know, one of your higher end spells, one of your higher end spells being a 3-drop, or you can, if you have too many lands, discard one of those lands and try to get another piece of value. That's what you mainly will do with this card. However, sometimes, once you're late in the game and you just need that last bit of gas, you can go ahead and spectacle this to discard a probably empty hand and draw 3 new cards. Even if they're all lands, those are 3 lands that you would not have drawn for 3 turns, so that's very helpful. Fireblade Artist is a 4 because this card is awesome. It does everything we want. It comes down and attacks immediately, which is fantastic. If, you know, your opponent does have roadblocks, it can start just slowly eating all of your cards that you no longer need. Works really well with Footlight Fiend, giving a total of 3 ping. And it can sacrifice itself, which is helpful. And it can hit your opponent's planeswalkers if you really need to. That said, usually you just want to go face. 2 Lightning Strikes. Why only 2? Why are we only playing 2? Well, that's because we do want to make this more about the spectacle and not necessarily just a burn deck, so I did have to keep that in mind. Also, a couple of them had to get cut for lands. I started out with 21 lands. I ended up on 23. Ugh. Anyway, 2 Lightning Strike. It goes to the dome. It goes to an annoying creature of your opponent's. It's very helpful because of its flexibility. 2 Hackrobats. I still like this card. I really do. I think this is one of the stronger pieces of the budget version. Being able to play this on 2 the majority of the time because of the number of 1-drops we're playing is very frequent. The fact that it essentially is a 2-mana 2/3 that has extra abilities is incredible. You can be in positions where your opponent might have a creature that they really want to keep, but they also don't want to take 4 damage from your Hackrobat if you use a red mana on it. So, you know, put your opponent in really bad situations. Additionally, it's an amazing blocker. You know, if your opponent happens to have a Carnage Tyrant because, like, you couldn't find the last piece of burn, you can, if you need to, hold back, kill the Carnage Tyrant when they decide to attack, and, you know, maybe you have Fireblade Artist, so you can just keep slowly draining them down while you wait for them to die. For Light Up the Stage and for Skewer the Critics, I know that in Burn, these are annoying-ass cards, but it's a Spectacle deck. I'm going to play them because they're good. We're running 4 Light Up the Stage because Light Up the Stage is a really great way to essentially draw cards. Since you have them until the end of your next turn, you have a lot of flexibility in when you're going to be able to cast this and the subsequent cards, so that's very helpful. Additionally, it essentially costs 1 mana. You're almost never going to play Light Up the Stage for full price, unless you are looking specifically for an additional piece of damage. Skewer the Critics. It's essentially Lightning Bolt. You should never have to pay full cost for this. This is almost always, I'm going to deal 3 to you. Judith is so good. She makes our creatures bigger, since we have a large number of kind of small creatures. And if they die from anything, Judith deals the damage to them, allowing us to have essentially the same thing with Footlight Fiend on all of our creatures, and that is so nice. Additionally, if Judith herself dies, not gets exiled, but if she dies, you can go ahead and reap that benefit. 2 Theater of Horrors. Initially, I had this at 3, but unfortunately, I needed to make some cuts for other cards because mana base sucks. This is very similar to Light Up the Stage in that it is a nice way to, you know, maintain some amount of card advantage. You're usually going to want to play the cards under Theater of Horrors first, because you don't know when you're going to not have Spectacle enabled next, and you don't know when or if your opponent is going to destroy your Theater of Horrors. So typically what I try to do is have this out as early as I can without really disrupting my game plan, while still being able to, you know, play out cards from it. So then, of course, we have 3 Spawn of Mayhem. It's essentially just a 3-mana 4/4 flying trampler that triggers Spectacle on each of your subsequent turns. It does ping you too, so when you're against other aggro decks, it is kind of a liability, but it's a 4/4. You should be able to kill a lot of things. But if you do have less than 10 health, you start growing your spawn. So once you get to that kind of midsection area, you then should be able to utilize Spawn of Mayhem to outrace your opponent. Then, of course, we have 23 lands. This is our distribution. We have more like mono red cards than mono black cards, as you can see, and not a terribly large amount of black red cards. So that is why we're running 6 swamps and 9 mountains. But I initially had this deck at 21 because functionally we have very few cards that cost more than 3, the majority of the high end being actually 3. And then, of course, we have a lot of our 3-drops actually costing 2 or less. So I assumed that 21 would be fine, but it turns out it wasn't. So I upped it to 22. Still had problems. Upped it to 23. Sometimes I flood now. Sometimes I still get mana screwed, but it seems to be a little bit better on average. So I really liked the discussing the sideboard cards that are in here after my games. That way it cuts down a little bit on the actual deck tech portion, but it still gives people who are curious about that information, it still gives them the chance to hear it. So I think I'm probably going to start doing that from now on, is talking about the main deck in the beginning and talking about the sideboard portion at the end. So this is not a great hand, especially since we're going second. We can, for what it's worth, go ahead and play Rix Maadi Reveler on turn 2 and hope to get some great stuff. I mean, on turn 3 we can play like, 2 of these or something, so it's fine overall. It's an okay hand. Oh god. We might be against mono red, or mono white aggro. Hopefully we're not. I do think the mono white and Boros aggro decks are a little bit harder for us to deal with because their creatures get quite large and they have heroic reinforcement, so we're like always on a clock. So hopefully that isn't going to be the case. Okay, it's white-green. Cool. Oh, and we got a better card. And the reason this is a better card, not only is it because it deals damage right now, but because we're going to be able to not technically destroy our hand. We could have Rix Maadi Reveler and dropped this, but this is a slightly more aggressive card, because even if they block, yeah, so even if they have a blocker, I'm just going to sacrifice Fireblade Artist. It's unfortunate that I have to, but I wouldn't be able to do the same thing with Rix Maadi Reveler. So we're going to start with Light Up the Stage, because we would prefer to draw an additional mountain, so we can play some of the other cards in our hand. Didn't get that, unfortunate. So we are going to have to go ahead and pass the turn. But we do have these until the end of our next turn. Don't have anything to do with this, though. This is going to get dangerous. Ow. I need more red. So that's annoying. I hate that I have to play this. I hate you, game. As I said, sometimes I still get mana screwed, even with 23 lands. For what it's worth, I was playing fewer swamps, but then I had problems getting black mana. But maybe I should just drop the swamps down. Okay, I got another red source, so I can go ahead and do this. Real, like, low? I think, actually, I'm just gonna do this. And this, dropping Theater of Horrors. Oh, cool, another land. That's gone, unfortunately. I think I actually, like, have to block and ping. So, we'll go and pass the turn. Opponent's at 16. We're probably gonna need this fudge. That's actually fine. If our opponent attacks, we can kill Tenestry Dryad. They actually shouldn't attack here. Alright. Go to blocks. Block one of these. Oh yeah, they're gonna become oh no, they're gonna become 1-drops afterward. Block one of these. Am I still dead? No. So block. Ping you. Ow. And ping you. Go away. Blood Crypt, wow. So I can skewer. But I'm dead? I guess I could skewer this and this. And play Blood Crypt tapped, but I'm still dead. So the problem here is I need to attack. I guess I actually just... Oh no, I can't, darn. So I was gonna say, I could skewer this and then skewer this for discounted price, but I actually can't. Yeah, it looks like I actually just can't win from here. Attack, trigger spectacle, 6 damage. It's 8 total damage. Our opponent will be at 8. Could attack, kill this, kill this. I did have 3 attackers. Yeah, unfortunately, that is just a loss. Darn. Well, you know what? Let's hope that the black mana doesn't screw us like it did before, and let us drop this, go up to 10. So I had it like that before, but deck just wasn't playing along. Needed black, never had black. And let's hope that we can get into a game here real soon. Yeah, for whatever reason, my mana's always just been kind of bad. Alright, I'm canceling this. And I'm hitting play again. Why do you hate me? Thank you. I just want to put on a good show, man. Yeah, I mean, seems fine to me. I'll have to take a little bit of damage. I think I will start with Spear Spewer. Oh, god dang it. Oh, no. Alright, well, bye, opponent. Well, that's awkward. Well, you know, sometimes playing against Concede, you know, it's become a bit too meta. It's, you know, it's not winning any top 8s. Okay, it's not even making top 8s. Heck, it's not even making day 2s. But you can't lie. Turbo Concede is is a ubiquitous deck. You know, that's something that you definitely have to prepare for in your you know, your deck gameplays, your practices. So, you know, just look out for that deck because it's everywhere. And Megazord. That's a reference I know. This hand should be fine, because we do have access to turn 2 light up the stage, regardless of what our opponent plays. If they play an elf, I'm probably going to kill the elf, though. Don't play an elf. Oh, if this is mono blue, I'm also probably going to kill their 1-drop. Oh, okay, it's another red. So we do need to be it's red something. I don't trust you. They're going to shock my Fanatical Firebrand. I'm not going to attack. I'm missing 1 damage. If they don't have the shock. But doing it this way, if they do have a shock, I get to deal the damage. I wasted your turn, Megazord. It looks like he had something. What the hell is that? Okay. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and ping my opponent here. I might skewer the crap out of that. We're going to light up the stage first, because we might draw a mountain. Oh, drew Dragonskull Summit. And we drew a Skewer the Critics from the light up the stage. Very helpful. Of course, unfortunately, that does mean next turn we aren't going to be able to play our Spawn, but we can play Scourge. So I assume this is a turbo, like a turbo burn deck, where they try and get stuff like this down, and then they just burn the crap out of you. Or not. Just sort of mono red. So yeah, unfortunately I'm going to take some damage here. I'll go ahead and play Judith. Hopefully she doesn't die. Unfortunately I think she probably will. But if she doesn't, then we are going to be able to attack in. And, you know, kill this, for example, with our Skewer. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But at least we are going to be able to kill off that token. So we take a little bit less damage. Yeah. Burn deck. So if we can, you know, battle for board supremacy, we should be, quote-unquote, okay. Ow. Do I play Spawn of Mayhem? I don't think a red deck like this would be playing Lava Coil. So even though Spawn would ping me as well, it would start getting larger, and it's guaranteed access to my Skewer the Critics next turn. So I think I'm going to play it. It does mean that they can kill it after I block with something, or they just have a Lava Coil. Are you really running Lava Coil? How many of the mono red decks run Lava Coil? Okay, well they still might have it. Yeah, that's really frustrating. As I said, if you want to play a deck similar to this deck, but tier 1, play a burn deck. Yeah, I'm dead no matter what I do. Dang. Maybe I should be playing Shock instead of Lightning Strike. It's a live deck editing. As you saw, I did get like 4 wins from practice. But why'd I do this? Go away. But sometimes, you know, after even more play, things change. Throw some shocks in there. That might just be a little bit better for consistency's sake and for being able to deal with really early aggressive starts from your opponent. Because against aggro, I'm fairly certain that we're actually the control deck. Kodiak Galen? What?
this is a good hand. Do I want the Firebrand or do I want the Spewer? I think I want the Firebrand. And the reason for that is because if my opponent has an elf, I kind of want to kill it. Because I can, if they don't have an elf, I can go ahead and get in for some damage. Well, that makes me want to play double Spear Spewer, to be honest. But I think I'm going to go ahead and get Hackrobat down. Because it is a little bit more efficient. So, you know, we're on relatively low mana, but we have things to do. And that's usually what I look at with a hand. It's not necessarily how much land we have, but how many things we have to do. So do I want to get the Skewer the Critics out? I don't think so. I think I'm just double Spear Spewer. Our opponent led off with double Temple Garden. They could have some form of board wipe, but I don't expect them to. Yeah, I don't typically expect green-white decks to have board wipes. This could be Bance, and I'm just not saying the blue yet. But it seems, yeah, okay. But luckily, I can still attack in with Hackrobat. I can, ooh, you know what? I'm going in on the Blood Crypt plus the Judith. Oh, these are even one power creatures now. So I'm definitely attacking with Hackrobat. But the question is, do I attack with Fanatical Firebrand or do I hold it back to block? I think I'm going to attack with it. We might get hurt on the crackback, but even if they don't block, okay, looks like they're going to block, which is fine because we still get a damage through. We would be able to double block with the Spear Spearers. One would die, but so would theirs, and I think they've invested technically a little bit more value in there because we can still utilize the Spear Spearers after blocking to get 2 damage through. So we should be in an okay spot. And I'm going to go and ping us. Can this resolve it? And I'm going to ping us again. That sound is loud. Ooh, Rix Maadi Reveler. Don't mind if I play this. Unfortunately, I'm not going to attack with it. Just because I don't want it to die, since I can utilize him for the last points of damage. I'm not going to attack with Judith either. I don't really need to, right? I have access to Skewer the Critics. I'm just going to skewer my opponent's face, because that presents them with lethal. They could block here. They should block here, frankly. Because if I put them to 6, they go to 4 because of these 2. And then they go to 2 because of... No, they would actually go to 1 because of this at my upkeep. But they just die because I have these out. So my opponent should... Wow, the Settle the Wreckage on 1 creature. Sure, thanks, I'll take the card. I will take a Swamp. Yes, I will take a Swamp. Now, I could just use this and Skewer the Critics on their face. Yeah, I might as well. And I'll go and do this. And... Oh, right. I always get confused with that. Okay, so my opponent is at 5. They'll be at 4. They'll be at 4 at the end of their turn. By the end of their turn, at least. And then at my upkeep, I ping them in response to my Fireblade Artist trigger, which would put them to 3. And then I sack one of these. So that's 2 plus 1 from Judith, which is 1, and then I Spear Spewer. Okay, yeah, cool. They should still be dead. They could gain life somehow, but don't have a slow start. So I guess this is Selesnya Midrange, since it's playing Settle. It's a very strange thing to be... It is strange. It's, you know, a strange deck. My opponent definitely isn't super new, because they have all of these. If I saw, like, a single of the tap lands, I'd be more inclined to think that my opponent is newer. But, yeah, I mean, it seems like I have plenty of rares. And that's just even stranger. Like, maybe it is just a collection of the good... They have a 3rd Temple Garden? I don't know. I feel as if this is not the typical... like, new player. So I will target that. Well, I didn't have a chance to sack it. It's fine, I didn't actually need to. Because that would have been 3 and then 1. Cool, cool. hop into another game. I mean, that's one of the nice things about this deck is it is relatively fast. Like, it's still an aggressive deck. It's not as aggressive as something like Mono Red or Rakdos Burn, but it's still relatively aggressive deck, and you'll know pretty early into the game if you're going to win or lose. So, you know, if you're going to lose, just throw out a Concede. If you're going to win, you know, keep going. If you think you're going to win, just keep going, and you should be able to get a lot of games with it. This has helped in the past, like canceling and then re-queuing. So I don't know if it'll help here, but a Planeswalker can hope. It's great backdrop for the deck we're playing, Koga Shuko. I'm curious if that's a reference to something. Koga Shuko. Also, great. Isn't that the spectacle? I'm going first. I'm keeping this because I have access to Rix Maadi Reveler. So on my turn 2, I can actually just go ahead and play this, discarding one of my lands, for example. Since for the majority of the game, we'll only need 3 lands. Koga Shuko. Double Dragon? Interesting. That draw of another mountain is even more reason to do this. They Evolving Wilds for planes. So I'm not sure. Okay, so that was another land I would have had to draw off the tap. White black. Is this like Esper Defenders? I hate you for being another land, but it's fine. I think I just Hackrobat here. I should have attacked first to see if my opponent would block, but it's fine. Yeah, Koga Shuko. It's a fictional character from Double Dragon. Alright. I'm a little offended that you aren't playing dragons right now, but, you know, Castle of Eye. Yep, I'm gonna go and do this. My opponent does not have mana to settle me. They could seal away me, but that's okay. What I want is light up the stage, because we've drawn many mountains. Cool. So I got that dabblage through. I'll go ahead and do this. Okay, that's not great because it's another land, but it's a land that we don't have to draw, right? So this is what I was saying. Sometimes I get mana screwed with 23 lands. Sometimes I get mana flooded, and this seems to be one of those mana floody times. I don't think I care about my life total. I'm going to attack with Hackrobat, but I don't think... No, I guess I have to attack with Rix Maadi Reveler as well. I assume he's going to block. The problem is that I actively want my opponent to block so that Leonin Warleader dies. So I think, honestly, the correct answer is to not attack with this. If they decide not to block the Warleader, or with Warleader, I should say, I can pump Hackrobat up to be 2 power, or to be 5 power total, to deal a little bit extra damage at essentially no cost, because we'll still have access to both of these cards. So I think this is the correct line. All right, cool. I'm going to make her deal more damage. I'm definitely going to cast this, but I do want to see what we get out of this. Okay, 2 lands. Cool. F off. And that's really one of the reasons that light up the stage is so important, right? Is the fact that we're going to be able to get this value of drawing through dumb land things. That's incredibly offensive. How dare you? I can ping any target. Get effed. Get all the way. Oh, yeah, I'm dumb. I should have attacked with Rix Maadi. I forgot. All right, my opponent's going to do that. I'm going to go and block this. I'm not at all going to risk my Judith. Rix Maadi Reveler's going to die. I'm going to ping off one of their creatures. This is funny. I find this amusing. So we're going to go and play this land. My opponent could exile my Judith, which would suck, but... God, crap! They should be at 7. This is what happens when I flood. I lose my mind. And I don't remember to do things. If my opponent lives on 2, I'm going to be sad. Resplendent, you say? Okay, that is dangerous. I would like to get a way to deal with that. So we're going to play this. We're going to play this. We're going to attack with Everyone with Judith. Again, I want the Resplendent Angel to block. Yep, I assumed that. Sure. So unfortunately, my opponent's going to gain 6 life. So they might actually win this game on 2. Oh, that's so frustrating. Immortal Sun? Why would you play that first? I'm going to decline this for now, because I can deal more damage here. I'm going to play Fanatical Firebrand. I don't know if I'm going to attack with her. I think it's better to save it for Judith, because I can sack, ping, and deal a total of 2 damage with her. But I am going to go ahead and attack with Fireblade Artist and Hackrobat. It's arguable that we shouldn't attack with Fireblade Artist, but my assumption is that my opponent... No, my opponent's probably going to... I don't know. We'll see what my opponent does. Yep, they go ahead and give that a block. I'm going to go ahead and do this to kill my opponent. Yeah, I get 2 damage from this anyway. I just wanted to show them the critical defeat. Yes! I could have... For the real BM, I could have killed the Hackrobat with Judith's ability, and then used Judith's ability to kill my opponent. But that's a little bit of BM. I mean, we're still doing fine on time, so just gonna hop into some more games. Or game, depending on if my internet wants to work with me. Hey, game. Wanna be my friend? If I get to 25, I'm cutting you off. I never wanted to be me. Game, why do you hate me so much? Turn the clock back to the way things were. I never wanted to be this me. Erase, eraser, show me back then, the kid before the man. Wait, what is it? I don't think this me is who I am. A lot of people don't like The Light Before the Sun that much, and I'm going to agree that... Oh, The Color Before the Sun, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I am going to play the Mountain and end the turn, because my opponent might play something I want to kill, like a bird. Well, an elf, which is a bird. But they don't, so I think I'm going to go ahead and play this untapped, shock my opponent, and then light up the stage to hopefully draw more dank cards. Like another light up the stage, and a land! Fantastic. Unfortunately, I don't actually know if I can play this light up the stage. No, I don't think I can. Unless I draw another... Like, Fanatical Firebrands are live. Hasty Man is alive. You're not live. You make me sad. Do I just play Hackrobat here? I'm sad that I'm going to lose this light up the stage, but I think I need to apply more pressure against the Golgari deck, so I think I do just play Hackrobat, even though I realize now that they probably have a cast down. So I should have just played light up the stage. Oh, wow. It's like I know a lot of the decks that I play against. What was the time? All right, Coheed. The Color Before the Sun is... I mean, it's a different thing, right? It's not in the same Coheed universe. It's a lot more of just like a passion piece from specifically Claudio. Man, all right. You know what? This is fine. You need to die. And I play this, and then next turn I either play Spawn of Mayhem or Rix Maadi Reveler. Probably Rix Maadi Reveler, just because of the fact that my opponent is likely to have things like Vraska's Contempt. So relying on a single creature is not as valuable. Oh, and also it dies to... What's that broad's name? Vivian Reed. So, I assume that's going to get binned. Nope, they keep it. That's interesting. So I guess they need it. So, knowing that, that makes me assume that my opponent is not on 5 mana, which makes the spawn better here. Okay. I'm making that play entirely because they kept Llanowar Elf on top. Because my assumption is they need 5 mana for something like a Vivian Reed, but they don't have it yet. Chupacabra, F off. Darn. So, you know, I agree with the sentiment that The Color Before the Sun is different to a Coheed album. The thing is, it's not different enough to be in, I'm gonna play another one and just hope that my opponent F's off and doesn't have another Chupacabra or a Vraska Contempt. But it's not different enough to be a part of his side project, the Prize Fighter Inferno. So, you know, like, I appreciate a lot of the songs on there, but it definitely doesn't have the same prog rock feel. Which, you know, take it or leave it. I'm gonna not block, because I will take some damage, and then Spawn of Mayhem will be stronger than you could ever imagine. But I don't think it's their... I mean, it's hard, right? Because, on one hand, is it the album that I don't like the most? Probably. So here, I think I need to play out Fiend and Fireblade Artist and start sacking stuff. Do I attack with the Spawn of Mayhem? I probably do, and then block with Footlight Fiend. Yeah, I think I need to get value out of this spawn. Cool. The other album of theirs that isn't loved is The Year Before, or The Year of the Black Rainbow. And I like plenty of songs on there, like Skeletons Live. I think Here We Are Juggernauts from that album, right? The Year of the Black Rainbow. Thank you very much. Year of the Black Rainbow. It has World of Lions. That's great. The Shattered Symphony, I really like. Made Out of Nothing is a great, a good song, I should say. I shouldn't necessarily say great. But yeah, they had a Vivian, and they needed the Llanowar Elf. So unfortunately, I think Spawn dies here.
Let's see if you're worthy.
But that's okay, I guess. This can deal damage to Planeswalkers, right? Yeah. So right here, I'm going to be able to sack the Footlight Fiend, deal 2 damage to Vivian, killing her, and deal 1 damage to Llanowar Elves. Okay, so we're gonna go and sack this. Yes. You are going to target the Llanowar Elves. You are going to target Vivian. I could potentially have gone for the face. That would be 3 damage. They would put them to 6. That'd be at 4 then. But so I'm going to go and do this, I think. Or do I shock the Chupacabra? No, I don't think so. I think I just play out the Rix Maadi Reveler. I'm getting dangerously low, but I'm hoping that the Reveler is going to fill my hand with some gas. Alright, well, I wouldn't have drawn those cards before. So I can go ahead and do this, and I have something to block with that still deals damage. Or I can sack it to Fireblade Artist. So, you know, as long as I survive the next few turns, I can technically kill my opponent. But I'm incredibly low on health. So, you know, let's see what they do. Yeah, they had Here We Are Juggernaut. You know, that's great. So, like, Guns of Summer's good, The Broken's good, Here We Are Juggernaut's good. The Shattered Symphony's good, World of Lines, Made Out of Nothing, Pearl of the Stars, In the Flame of Air. Like, the majority of this album is great. Like, I wouldn't even just say good, I would say great. But, unfortunately, it's just not as... It's not as good as their other albums. But it's still pretty dang good. I probably agree with people. I think that Year of the Black Rainbow is their weakest album, but not because the album's bad. It's because the rest of their albums are fucking top notch. I think my favorite album, I talked about this before, is From Fear Through the Eyes of Madness. That album's so good. I think I probably need to get rid of Spear Spewer. But I don't want to die. So I think I have to wait. Okay, another artist. That's helpful. Gonna pass. So we're probably going to use the Spear Spewer to block. And then damage our opponent. Yeah, I mean, this is not looking great. So this is 7, 8, 9. Or 7, 8, 9. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. So, for what it's worth, if I had just targeted my opponent, they technically would have been dead. But, on the flip side, then I wouldn't... Like, they would have the board that they did, right? Which would be Vivian and Lenore. So... Why aren't they playing the Lenore Elf? That's very strange. I think I have to block both. I'm definitely blocking here. But I don't know if I want to go to 3. For what it's worth, they would take some damage here. They'd go down... Like, if I blocked, they would go down to 7. They would get to draw a card, though. I'm not sure. I think I'm fine taking a little bit of damage. I'll go ahead and Spear Spewer as well. I mean, it's super dangerous, but I have to take drastic actions to win this game. Okay, they played it Lenore up. Okay. So unfortunately, this happens at upkeep. So I have to decide now. Like, if I draw Judith, it becomes a lot easier to justify keeping them. But I think honestly, what I have to do is sacrifice both of them to get them to 3 and hope I draw. Oh, right, I took out Shocks. I have to hope I draw Skewer the Critics. Come on, Skewer. Or Light at the Stage. Oh, it was a land the whole time. I'd only use one Skewer the Critics. Darn. Oh well. You win some, you lose them. I do think Golgari Midrange is probably our hardest matchup because they do have, you know, a lot of life gain, a lot of like decent board presence early on that does threaten our life total. So it's a little difficult. So here I'm going to, well, you know what? Not everyone cares about that. So I'll buy the packs first. Gotta be accommodating for people. Why did I buy Allegiance packs again? They're just gonna be rares. And gems. Alright. So, I want to go really quickly over the cards in the sideboard. So, Gutterbones was another thought about inclusion for the fact that you're able to get it back to your hand if your opponent lost life, which is, you know, it's not a spectacle ability per se, but it's a spectacle ability. The problem I found was it was too mana intensive for what the deck was trying to do. Vicious Conquistador, I found a large number of people playing, and it's nice that it's a 1/2. And it's also nice that regardless of whether or not your opponent has a board, you're going to get some sort of damage through. But it just didn't have the same utility that the other 3 cards that I decided to play have. Carnival Carnage was just hard to slot into the deck. Carnival, as always, is good. It triggers your Spectacle while dealing some extra damage to your opponent's creatures. And Carnage is fantastic if you do end up getting to that stage of the game where you have that amount of mana. But I just found that it didn't do enough compared to the other rare includes. Sovereign's Bite, if you want to play this, play Burn. Lava Coil, apparently, if you play Burn, you're going to play Lava Coil. It's removal, which is helpful, but I wanted to focus on the Spectacle. Lightning Strike, we know I took that out. Runaway Steamkin, I don't think we do play mostly... Okay, we play essentially entirely red cards, but I didn't want to play Runaway Steamkin because this fucking card is just played and burn all the time. It's like, I think Runaway Steamkin is interesting and cool, but it's just played in mono red, and I'm sick of this card. Pyromancer, it triggers Spectacle, but there were other things we wanted to play. Risk Factor, if you were going a little bit more of a burn heavy Spectacle game, I think Risk Factor is fine, but it is a little expensive, and we do already run plenty of... Oh, did I draw Theater of Horrors in this video? I don't know. Theater of Horrors is fine if I didn't actually show it in this video. But Risk Factor is a little bit on the expensive side, considering we have other ways to gain card advantage. Wizard's Lightning, it's a burn spell. Bedevil, it's great removal. It gets rid of pretty much anything you need, but if your opponent's dead, you don't need to get rid of anything. I have no idea how many games we won. I think we left off at 4 after I finished the testing, so 3 makes sense, so cool. I mean, it was either 2 or 3, so either way, I'm fine with that. Anyway, I would like to thank my lovely patrons, especially Salamander and Draga, for their continued support. If you'd like to join them in supporting the channel, you'll find links to that down in the description. I do think I'm going to start posting my failed videos as patron-only rewards, because some of them are really hilarious when I realize that I've done something wrong. For example, this video, I messed up the intro, and I didn't change it from the promo screen, so I was talking about the deck for like several minutes before I realized my mistake. Anyway, in the Discord, or in the the description box, jeez, you'll also find links to the Discord server where people chat and play games, and my Aetherorb account where I host all of my deck lists. Anyway, I do hope you enjoy. wait, I'm gonna try something else. I hope you had a fantastic time. If you did, remember to click that like button, add a subscription to your mana pool. I said click, not tap. Jeez, whatever. And cast a comment in the comment sections below. If you don't, we'll find you. And until next time, lovely audience members, I will be one.